Tonight we are in the mountains of Colombia's west coast, and we are looking for the rough coffee snake, a snake species that is not too commonly encountered, and arguably one of the most unique looking snakes in the neotropics. Down here at the base of this tree is a Pothidium nasutum. That is this viper right here. And actually, right next to it, we have a juvenile Emanthodes cinchoa. But I've already made an entire video dedicated to these, so if you want to go see that, I will leave a link in the description. These are known as Rainforest Hognosed snakes, and they are one of two Pothidium species that are found in Colombia. The other one is Landsberg's hognose viper, which is a species that I have shown on this channel before. Pothidium nasutum has quite a large distribution. It's found in southern Mexico, as well as all of Central America except for El Salvador, western Colombia, and western Ecuador. In the area that I'm in right now, Solano Bay, this is quite a rare species. Meanwhile, in other areas of its distribution, like Costa Rica for example, it can be a highly common species. Along with its wide distribution, unsurprisingly, this species occupies a wide variety of forests as well. In fact, as opposed to the area that we're in right now, which is extremely rainy, many of the areas that this snake is quite common in are dry forests or even scrublands. I mentioned that this is one of two Pothidium species in Colombia. In the bay that I'm in right now, Landsberg's hognose viper cannot be found, but in addition to this snake, there are 4 other viper species that are found in this area. Of these local vipers, this is one of the smallest, and rarely ever exceeds 60 centimeters in length. And that specific epithet, nasutum, means long nose, and for this species it is quite obvious to tell why it was named that way. Lastly, this is quite a generalist species. It can consume most animal species in the area that are within a reasonable size range. Well, it barely moved at all. It's still pretty much in the same position, so we're just going to leave it here. And the other snake is still just a meter away. Look at this colorful katydid down here on this leaf. This is Arachnoscelis species. I'm not really sure which one. The one that we have here is a female, and in this genus that means it lacks wings altogether. The males, however, while they still lack the ability to fly, they do have these teeny tiny wings next to their pronotum, and these are capable only of stridulation for attracting mates. The overwhelming majority of katydids and other long-horned orthopterans out here are cryptic to at least some degree, or at least don't really stand out. In contrast to that, I'm not too sure why these are colorful, because they're quite likely not poisonous at all. And this one isn't even as colorful as some species get. For example, Arachnoscelis ferrexnotha is even more brightly colored than this one. And I should mention, by the way, this is my first time seeing this genus, though I have seen others in the tribe Phyllobates before. You can tell that this is a predatory species. It has those long spines on its legs for trapping insects and other arthropods, but these also have enlarged heads. Down here in the leaves is a snake that camouflages fairly well. This right here is Nothopsis rugosus, not a very large species of snake. Like I've already mentioned, this snake's name in English is the rough coffee snake, but in Spanish, the more common name is the banana snake, supposedly named after the plantations that they are found in, or something to this effect. This is quite an unmistakable snake species out here. First, this snake is quite matte. Second, it's quite long and thin. And third, most obviously, it is quite bumpy, which is what gives it its common and scientific name. The genus name Nothopsis can be split into 2 parts, the Greek nothos and opsis, which translates to bastard appearance. And the reason for this, apparently, is because it looks quite similar to the fertile ants, Bothrops asper. But strangely enough, this confusion is not overly far-fetched. This species is thought to mimic the juveniles of Lachesis acrocorda, which is a species of bushmaster viper, but I'm not too sure about the other 2 bushmaster species that it is sympatric with. And as for the specific epithet rugosus, that of course just means rugose, which is in reference to the bumpiness of the snake. We have a Phyllobates aurotaenia down here in these leaves. That is this dart frog here. This dart frog is commonly known as the Kokoe dart frog. That's a name that originates from the local indigenous language. This frog is a Colombian Pacific Coast endemic. It's one of several dart frog species that are found out here, and not the only one that's endemic to the region. This is a species that I was recently able to observe carrying tadpoles on its back, which is only the second time that I've seen this in dart frogs. This dart frog is one of very few that are actually highly toxic, and one of the 3 dendrobatid species whose poison has actually been used by the indigenous to tip darts. And these darts tipped with Phyllobates batrachotoxin are used to hunt things like peccaries and monkeys. This species is both diurnal and nocturnal, and if you catch them at the right time, you can hear them calling. This call sounds similar to that of a bird. we have a Melloina pacifica spider down here on the ground. This is a Mygalomorph that I have seen on 3 other occasions at this point. However, this is the only adult male that I've seen thus far. A couple things make this spider fairly interesting. First, it doesn't build a web, and despite looking like a trapdoor spider, it doesn't build a door either. And on top of that, it seems that it infrequently makes burrows. Instead, where you most often encounter these is sitting in the leaf litter or inside other debris like rotting logs, or in the top layer of the soil where there's a system of surface roots that creates shelter. In Mygalomorph taxonomy, the placement of this spider has been disputed for a while. Originally it was from the family Paratropididae, which is most well known by the genus Paratropus, which is another spider that lives out here. And this family's placement is almost equally disputed as Melloina's placement. Despite looking a lot like a trapdoor spider, current molecular evidence suggests that these might be tarantulas. This spider was described in 2023 in the same paper that described Arachnoscelis mecana and a couple of other Mygalomorphs. Its type locality is quite close to where I am on the same coast. I'm getting harassed by night monkeys in the genus Aotis. I just got a glimpse of it before I started recording. You can see that the branches are shaking just in one spot, and they're throwing all kinds of stuff down here. Not sure what that was. These Aotis actually live up here. Every time I'm around this area, they're always making some noise, or at least half the time. Down here on the backside of this log, we have our second rough coffee snake. This one is quite a bit larger than the last one, actually. We are not close to any sources of water, but this species is associated with rivers and streams. And in addition to this, they are also associated with leaf litter. This is where they may be hidden away during the day, but they also spend time searching through the leaf litter at night as well. This is a species that is almost exclusively found in tropical rainforests. More specifically, usually in old primary growth, and these rainforests that they occupy are low elevation. The snake is active only at night, during which time it forages on the ground, and the prey that it's looking for are small lizards, salamanders, and frogs. Despite having the name rough coffee snake, these are not related to other coffee snakes. The name coffee snake most often refers to snakes in the genus Ninia, which can also be found out here. According to current molecular data available, this snake's closest relatives might be that of the genus Amantodes, or the blunt-headed tree snakes. I should also mention that they don't have any immediate relatives. Nothopsis is a monotypic genus. Last thing about this species, like many snakes, when it's disturbed it stops moving, but for this species that can even be true after you pick them up off the ground. Their body seems to be already naturally rigid, but they become even more stiff when they're disturbed. This is quite a contrast to what they'll do if they want to escape. Sometimes when you pick these up, they start twirling around in circles rapidly. This salamander that we have walking around on this log here is Oedipina complex, a species of worm salamander. 2 things going on here. This salamander's name is actually Oedipina complex, and, as you might expect, it is part of a complex as well. If you don't think I'm being serious, I don't blame you, and I highly encourage you to look this up yourself. From what I gather, when Oedipina complex's cryptic species get split out, this one that we have here will not be Oedipina complex anymore. I don't know to what extent this complex is diverse and how widespread it is, but I can only imagine that sampling it to do genetics must be an absolute nightmare. In total, I don't think there's more than a handful of Oedipina species in South America. The overwhelming majority of the 40 or so species in this genus are in Central America. I have seen Oedipina in Central America before, actually on a couple of occasions. There are quite a few interesting looking Oedipina species, but I can't say that this is one of them. It does look quite generic, sorry to say. Well, that will be all for this video of looking for rough coffee snakes here in Colombia. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.